BBC senior journalist has come out and said, spoke to a senior journalist with BBC today who told me that it is internal policy the word Palestine is not allowed to be used in stories and interviews. And if it is, they will cut it out. They said Palestinians is okay, but Palestine is not. That's not shocking. This is the secret in New York Times as well. Journalists that don't work at the New York Times or journalists that used to work at the New York Times will openly joke about this. Okay? Look at any New York Times article. Try to find, no, we're hitting full erasure. No, we've been there. This isn't, dog. Big media companies openly do not have Palestine in their lexicon. They regularly will avoid saying it, avoid writing it. It has been that way in perpetuity. They will never say Palestine. They'll say Palestinians. They will never say Palestine. It's in their style guide. Depending on the level of Zionism that people are operating on, they might not even say Palestinians. Okay? Oh yeah, here it is. Leaked document shows New York Times censorship on words like genocide and Gaza coverage. The Times discourages references to Palestine in a refusal to acknowledge the state Israel has been occupying. New York Times has a policy of systematically censoring words like genocide, ethnic cleansing, in its coverage of Israel's genocidal assault on Gaza, according to an internal memo obtained by The Intercept this week. Times memo instructs its journalists to avoid using terms genocide, ethnic cleansing, refugee camps when writing about Palestine. It directs them to steer clear of referring to areas of Palestine as occupied territory, and even further discourages referring to Palestine as Palestine whatsoever. In addition, the memo claims that words like slaughter, massacre, carnage are often too emotional to describe Israel's bombardment of Gaza. I don't know if you guys knew this or not. As a reporter, how can you avoid saying occupy West Bank? Easy. Just don't say West Bank at all. Israel's military operation in the north of Jordan Valley, apparently.
About what we know on the Israeli military operation at the moment.
Well, this is going on for its second day. It began in the early morning of yesterday. And we understand that Israeli troops have now pulled out from one of the urban refugee camps that they were targeting in the north of the Jordan Valley, where they'd been backed up by military.
In 100 articles I checked, I found one that got through. Glasgow celebrates Pride after Palestine protests rule. That's the only time. I hate how the New York Times keeps its rep despite having a major pro fuck-ups every decade. AIDS, Iraq, Palestine, trans healthcare, fucking nightmare. Yeah. Rule, not rule. New York Times didn't have a problem with the emotive words when sensationalizing the fake rape story. Yeah. I mean, yes, they are doing propaganda for Israel, 100%. In France, an Israeli PR agency bought the rights to free Palestine for all existing 45 trademark categories. Doesn't take a genius to guess the purpose. Oh, they're just going to sell it. They're going to just make money off of it. In France, an Israeli PR agency bought the rights to the slogan Free Palestine for all the existing 45 trademark categories. No, they're not cynically profiting off war. It's the DMCA people, dude. What are you talking about? Come on. I mean, I don't know if it'll fucking work or not, but yeah, if the Intercept's findings are accurate, the barring of these terms and the Times coverage reflects an approach to reporting on Gaza and Palestine that ignores the historical contemporary reality of Israel's violent repression of Palestinians. They mentioned that the BBC operates off of what the UN recognizes, so they can only refer to West Bank or Gaza. Occupied Palestinian territories is okay too. The word genocide is also not allowed and will be cut off too. None of this surprises me. The conversation arose because I queried why they cut off something I said in my last interview where I highlighted the interconnected relationship between Islamophobia in Palestine and Islamophobia here during the riots. The journalist was kind enough to reveal that may be why. But here, let's see how the Good Morning America, the wonderful people over how Israel's elite intelligence unit targets queer Palestinians in the West Bank. I mean, this is something I've talked about quite a bit. They literally find gay Palestinians and then they blackmail them. They spy on them. They get compromising footage of them and they blackmail them with revenge porn into working with them, working as collaborators with them.
on the debate stage in 20.
That may literally be true. Gremlin was talking to a journalist this morning that was talking about how some of the laws that around propaganda that came up after World War II, journalists providing cover for war crimes may be liable under those laws. Yeah, except the United States of America is not going to stop being the superpower, okay? Nazis lost World War II. That's why some of the journalists that carried water for their genocide and their crimes were, you know, prosecuted for propaganda. Normie family members of mine said that they have Jewish people around them that constantly talk about rising anti-Semitism, so they won't even let me talk about the problems with Zionism or even what a pogrom is. How do you approach that with people around you? I mean, it's true. Anti-Semitism is rising. Anti-Semitism is unacceptable. It is a form of bigotry that oftentimes leads people to agree with fascist narratives. So you don't have to like counter that. It's correct. Anti-Semitism is absolutely fucking rising all around. One of the major factors that plays into anti-Semitism rising all around is that Israel is not the fucking moral democratic nation that the American media has represented it as. Anti-Semitism is rising because of Israel's actions being paired up with Judaism. For a lot of average people who have associations or like in an offhanded remark will like be significantly more susceptible to anti-Semitic sentiment, like Jews control the media or whatever, things that we consider in here to be obviously non-starters. A lot of Americans believe that shit already, or they're primed to believe that shit. So when fucking Israel does this stuff and says we're doing this for Judaism, and then Jake Tapper turns around and says Israel has to defend itself, and it's actually for Judaism, and you're fucking anti-Semitic for criticizing it, then yeah, people who are already primed to be anti-Semitic who haven't fucking read into it are going to be like, oh, dude, I see it now. Like, it's 100% Jews control the media. Like, of course people are going to fucking think that way. That's why I like spend every goddamn day combating anti-Semitism and also engaging in anti-Zionism at the same time. There's no reason that you have to. Yeah, it's legitimately on the rise. One of the dumb apolitical guys in my work dropped the honestly, I get it now. I can see why everyone hates the Jews in reference to Israel influence on U.S. politics. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That is 100% a sentiment that is like increasingly becoming more commonplace. That's not a fucking joke. Anti-Semitism is on the rise, but the primary culprit is Nazism, not anti-Zionism in my experience. No, of course not. Of course, the primary culprit is fascists and Nazis and anti-Semites themselves who are taking advantage of the underlying anti-Semitic tendencies that people might have and then pairing that up with like valid criticisms of Israel. All they need to do is just point to what the fuck's going on and be like, see, I told you Jews control the media. See, I told you Jews control key aspects of American society. When it has nothing to do with Judaism whatsoever. But on the other side, you have Israel saying, no, this has everything to do with Judaism. Every Palestinian we're killing because of Judaism, because Jews love doing that, okay? That's what they're saying. That's how people see it. I don't have any fucking power in trying to combat against this narrative when that is what is being telegraphed from every fucking, everything that people see and think in the media.